in the beginning of the master when I was in a change semester in Denmark and then in Norway also. It was super fun, but it was really difficult in the beginning. And honestly, the only way for me to really kind of survive and keep myself alive, it was that I always ask myself, okay, what was my dream when I left Peru?
The first part of the podcast today would be about your business.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you like to tell us about your product and service that you offer?
Yes, sure. So my business is called Metacomics, and I use this name because it is a metaphor. So I would like to explain what does it mean, Metacomics. A metacomic is a character which is aware of its own story, and it takes control of their story. Okay. So likewise, I think in real life we can become aware of our life and take control or manage our own story. So what I do in my company is that I offer the service of coaching people with visual tools and coaching tools, where I like to help people to become aware and take control of their life. It can be to achieve a personal goal or a professional goal. And the most important is in the end to enjoy the journey. And I have individual coaching sessions, which are deeper, and group coaching sessions, which are a little bit more light, but it has a different energy, which I really enjoy.
So, where did you get the idea or inspiration?
Yeah, yeah. The main reason, like my why, actually started because for me this is the service that I always wish I could have had, especially when I was younger. Like maybe when I was 18 years old, deciding what to study. And so I always wanted some sort of help, and I didn't know exactly. So I was looking for psychologists or mentors and stuff like that. And fast forward more than 10 years, I discovered coaching, and that is why I really want to offer this service to everyone. And I think it's a skill that everyone should know. Everyone should know how to coach and should be coached. Like informally, we do that with our best friend, with our mentors, teachers, and so on. But the skill of coaching itself is a special skill. Like you actually need to train, need to practice, and so on. You need to learn how to listen to people and how to um, let them ask themselves the right questions and let them follow their intuition and live, like fight for their dreams. So again, that's what I wish I could have had when I was younger. So through my life, and maybe later we will go through that in my background, kind of connecting the dots, I decided that yeah, I really want to coach, and I really want to make a living out of that. Yeah. Again, this is combined with my background in architecture and then my master's degree in Finland in arts, and then I combine everything. So I know I have a special methodology using comics and simple drawings. That is why the metaphor of meta comics came from. And again, it's like it's my hobby, it's my like my ideal thing to do, to receive coaching and also to coach people. Yeah.
I would like to ask some questions since you came to Finland and started your business as a foreigner. Was there any difficulty you found, especially in the beginning?
I think Finland is the new land of opportunities. So I feel grateful to be here. I don't feel I have big challenges other than my own mindset, to be honest. So it's more like when my mindset is in the right energy, everything is possible, to be honest. It's like a mirror of energy. When my mindset is not in the right way, um, for different reasons, then I don't see the positive side of things, and I kind of see more problems. Uh, then in practical way, I mean, Finnish people and Nordic people in general speak English, like all of them. And they are really open-minded, and they are international communities. And I mainly kind of work in international communities. also in the future, like as a vision, as many people, I want to work internationally. I have a couple of coaches that I have in Germany and in Korea, just because of my network, my personal network. So I don't see it as a big problem, to be honest. Of course, it's limited if we compare with local people, but I never compare with local people. And yeah, and yeah, so I found more like practical problems, which is normal, like like paperwork, how to register a company, and taxes and so on. And even that, I think Finland is quite friendly in comparison with other countries. Everything is automated, everything is online, mainly English, not always, but mainly. Still, is I think it's just normal challenges, like especially if you don't have background in business. Like I don't have background. It's absolutely not my thing. So I consider that as my personal doses of sacrifice. Like I really need to put all my energy and just do it, even if I don't like it. I just do it. Yeah.
I see. Quite commonly, I think when people decided to start a business, maybe one of the first things they do would be registering a company or making a website. But I think based on the last time we talked, you choose a different approach. Would you like to share with us the journey?
Yeah, I would like to share that. Again, I'm quite talkative, so I want to give always kind of two answers. One is the big picture one, and the other is the more practical one. So I would like to mention that my journey started around 7 to 9 years ago. I've been thinking about it because it was when I left my country and I left my stable work as an architect. I kind of fulfilled my dreams of my 20s, working in my ideal office of architecture. And then I have a new dream, childhood dream. I wanted to live abroad. I wanted to do something related with, let's say, psychology. I didn't know coaching at the time, but it was something about human beings. I wanted to focus a little bit more in arts, a little bit more. So that was 2 years before leaving my country. And I've been in Finland about 7 years. So 2 years before I started putting time, money, and thinking and studying English, for example, because you don't actually use English in Peru. Maybe it's similar in your country. So that's when I started. So I started learning, taking English lessons, and saving money, searching for visas, and then I went. Then the story is really long, but in short, I went to New Zealand first for 6 months, and then I got accepted to Aalto University because the idea was to study a master. So I wanted to do something new. So at least I wanted to study. So the master was the first step here in Finland. I didn't know exactly if I was going to found a company, but I had the idea as a dream. So technically, I mean, if I think about it, it was an entrepreneurial mindset, when you decide to leave your country, leave your job, change career. So it was quite entrepreneurial. And then I wanted to create a methodology. That was my dream. And I did it with the master. Up to some extent, I suggested a method. And then when I graduated, then I started the dream of actually founding a company. So that was about maybe 2 years ago. And to turn a method into a business. So now I kind of focus in more like the business part, like marketing and so on. And that's a whole new journey. So it just started. So yeah, so when you ask me if I register another company, so then I explain you that if this started 9 years ago, yeah, I didn't want to register any company because I didn't even know exactly what I was going to do. 2 years ago, then I decided to register a company. So I registered my company about 1 year ago. Yeah, in summer 2020. Yeah, so it's actually 6 months ago, actually, like officially. But I started holding workshops 3 or 4 years ago already with the master. So then I have practicing in holding workshops and also getting paid, gigs. And the coaching started roughly 1 year and a half ago. The precise coaching. So yeah, that's the approach. And also perhaps more in practical, I always prefer one-on-one, and they call it networking, social intelligence, emotional intelligence. Those are the terms. So I feel more comfortable with that. That's how I met everyone, actually, even online somehow. Um, that's even how we met also at some point. That almost everything that I have done is via talking with people. So yeah, but the goal of this year is to actually have the website and so on. I am literally doing that. I just got an assistant and she's gonna help me with that. So yeah, I am excited about that.
Nice. So, as I understand, registering your company or a business, it's just like a tool for you to do something that you really like and enjoy. So it's not the purpose is to build a company, but in order for you to offering coaching session, you need a company. So that's how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Maybe we can say that registering a company is the practical way of expressing a dream, and the dream is, simply put, to live doing what I love. And what I love is helping people, and the service is coaching, and I do it with this special method of drawings. And again, to have I call it like a change of money, a change of energy. It's in real life you have money, so you need to live with something. So then you register a company and do all these practical things. But it's like the means, not the goal itself. That is why it can be expressed in different ways. So probably in the future it will maybe take slightly different shapes, but they are the slightly different business models. You know.
Yes. And when you mentioned about hosting workshops, even very long ago, 3 or 4 years ago, I think that was pretty smart. It's like you testing your product to see if there's demand for it or will it work here in Finland. Um, what do you feel about it? And was there any reflection?
Yes, yes, yes. What I was testing was my method, which in practice is the service. That's what I was testing. So I was testing my dream, and it took me quite a while in the beginning, especially. And I don't know if I am jumping any question, but I was, for example, public speaking was a whole issue for me. So I didn't like it. So I learned that in the last maybe 3 years, about 3 to 4 years. Um, um, and I wanted to get there just practice and just to feel comfortable. Um, I was not actually thinking in the business itself at that specific moment. Maybe as I mentioned, maybe 2 years ago. So the first workshop, I was not thinking any business. But then after 2 years, then I thought a little bit more like in the practical ways. So it's becoming more and more practical, which I like the idea. Yeah.
I see. So, was there any special or memorable event or moment along the journey that you would like to share?
Yeah, I don't have any. I didn't remember any specific now, but I have something that I call the angels or the miracles or just the magical people. I always use these fictional names and magic things or superheroes, which just refers to something that is it's almost impossible to explain rationally. It's just kind of a lucky shot, or being in the right situation and so on. Maybe one night was when I got one of my first clients. Well, I got clients before, but I like it this one because I hold a free demo in Access Entrepreneurship Community from Haag, and I was interested because it was postponed many times because it was last year and it was supposed to be in spring, but the corona came, so we just postponed it until September, I think, when we have this window, and we have a real life workshop. Um, And in the end, well, I just offered, my services. If people want something similar, just let me know. And there were 90% students, and there was one teacher, and she loved what I did. And in the end, she talked to me and said, "Hey, I like what you do. I want you to hold a workshop in Porvo with my students, and no worries, like, it's paid workshop and so on." So yeah, that's, for example, one little miracle. And then recently, I had again more coaching sessions and free demonstrations, and I got 5 business coaching sessions for free after me holding two workshops. And again, it was exactly what I needed, and I wrote that in my vision board, in my Metacomics goal setting, and so on. Last year, that this year I wanted as many coaches and mentors as I could. So I got this exactly in December. So now we have that. And then I got another one similar from another coach. And then it was the same with exchange of services with this website or social media marketing assistant that I was exchanging services. Basically, I was coaching her for free. So absolutely no expectation. And the conversation started because something else, because of the method, not for the coaching. And we didn't even know how she could pay me back. I said, no, I don't need anything at this point, so just leave it there. And then it came this thing with the website and everything. And then I remember that she's into that. So then I say, hey, I need help with that. And then she's super happy to kind of give me back the favor. So things like that. Like, I'm meeting people, meeting mentors, interviewing informally. I had many informal interviews with like role models and so on. Things like that. And also maybe even discovering the Finnish system, like for me it's new. So if I see this 9 years ago, this is almost impossible to believe in my country, that the amount of support that the government can give to Finnish people, especially, after you graduate and have more rights with the papers, it's literally a miracle. In my country, this doesn't exist. And in Finland, you apply for grants, and they can help you with the grants. So that's important.
Yeah, that was so interesting listening to you about like the connection between people and how opportunities come out of nowhere, that we didn't expect things to happen that way. Uh, it just it's just funny because we used to be roommates actually, and then we lost contact. And then the reason why I contacted you again last year was from a girl who I was lucky to do a project about human resource work, and she referred you to me. So it's like another example how because she used to attend one of your session workshop, and then she really enjoyed it. She really liked it. And then when she helping me with the project, she was suggesting if you want workshop for your organization, then this guy would earn my highest recommendation. So it's like definitely you put the right word magic the way it happens.
Another more, you just mentioned it. That's the way how we met. It's incredible. Maybe I can add a little tip for myself and for everyone. Like for me, every time I do things with love, meaning like I give without any expectation, good things happen. The kind of the interesting part is you never know when. Like absolutely, you don't know. Can be in 1 year. You just in 2 years, man. We were flatmates like at least 2 years ago or more.
Yeah.
And we talked this like briefly. I remember, and it was because I was testing one of my workshops and so on. And so it was without any expectations. So maybe other thing that I can add is to face your fears. I again personally, every time I do something new, I always feel fear. It's to be totally honest. when it's the first time, then when it's not the first time, when I do it for 5 times or so, then it's fine. But because I always love to do new things, so basically I'm always, not always, but frequently facing fears, you know. But anyways, yeah, doing things without expectation but with positive energy always gives you back somehow in life. You never know how. Yeah.
Yes. Have you read a book called Give and Take? The author explained about how the power of giving, and he really encouraged everyone to do something just exactly as you just said, to give and to help people without any expectation to receiving anything in return. But the universe or life will take care of it itself, and eventually there will be good things coming back to you, or if not you, then your family members or your loved ones. So I'm a firm believer in that concept.
Absolutely agree. And I am the same believer.
Talking about lesson, is there anything else? Like, is there any fascinating reflection you got from 9 years ago, stepping out of your comfort zone, doing something that you never done before, taking risks? Is there did it give you any special reflection or lesson?
Yes, a couple of lessons are to follow your intuition, and also to do reality checks. There are many ways of doing reality checks. Coaching is one of them. It can be with someone or it can be on your own, you know. But it's this balance between the dream and the reality. That's the balance. Sometimes you have to stretch them a little bit and be quite out of your comfort zone, like really, you know, like again, living in another country, then you miss your family and so on at some point. And but then the reality check, for example, also remind you your dreams. So there were many difficult times, especially I remember in the beginning of the master when I was in a change semester in Denmark and then in Norway also. It was super fun, but it was really difficult in the beginning. And honestly, the only way for me to really kind of survive and keep myself alive, it was that I always asked myself, okay, what was my dream when I left Peru? And then I remember my dreams. And then I said, okay, yeah, I still like my dream. So keep moving forward. No problem. Yeah.
Is there is that an example or one of my favorite quotes? Is that when you feel like giving up, remember the reason why you get started. Is the dream, is the motivation and the reason, or our guiding star for us to overcome the challenges and difficulties in life we face.
Yeah, and I could say also that sometimes, ironically, the reason, at least for me, sometimes is quite intuitive, you know. Sometimes kind of rational thoughts, again, for me, you know, depends. Some people are quite rational, but for me that I have this 50-50 practical, and I am more spiritual, actually, more emotional. Sometimes it does stronger, because sometimes if I don't know, I count numbers of stuff like that, there is a limit. But sometimes it just, again, like the intuition, or sometimes I say for fun, like for fun in quotes, you know, or for love.
Now it leads me to another questions related to dream. So it would be really nice if we know what we want to do or what our dream is, because I know by experience quite many young professionals, they don't actually know what they want to do with their life. To say something to be my dream, it sounds very big.
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts about that. I think it's related with your intuition. I think people, including myself, to be absolutely honest, I lost the connection with my intuition, like my love, my karma, my dreams. because many reasons, because the society, the parents, it just is so strong, you know, like you have at least 10 years of brainwashing that whatever your parents told you something. And again, even me, that I am always fighting for my dreams, honestly, every now and then, for some reason, my head made me do things that my body doesn't want to do. There are some coaching questions. I can link that coaching question with my own example. The coaching question is about remembering what do you like when you were a kid, especially when before, let's say, before being teenager, before 14, 13 years old, like before you like girls or boys, what did you love? You know, so usually I like boys, I like girls, which is natural, you know, it's just natural. But just before the time, you know. And then, for example, in my case, I always like to draw, I always like to design, I always like to invent things designing. So I was inventing things drawing, like when I was 8 years old or something. I always like to travel, even that I didn't have money to travel, but I like the idea. And my family also travel. I always like sports. And even that when I was young, I didn't actually practice too much sports, but I always like it. And it was inside me. And again, I didn't have the best, I think education is quite traditional Peruvian developing education. So it's not good education. So basically all my dreams, if I see them, they were always cut it. So they never were explode in early stage. And then again, you refer that some people know their dream when they are young. And that's a good scenario. That's what I like coaching, because I would like that parents, for example, allow their kids to follow their intuition, whatever it is, when they are super young, and then just do it, no problem. But it was not my case. So in my case, all my dreams was kind of cut it. And then when I seen how these childhood passions became my adult lifestyle, like my adult profession, I see that they always were the same. So architecture, you draw, architecture, you design. Again, I need to give you an example. When I started architecture, I started with engineering because of my parents and so on. And it was like, I don't know why, but they thought that architecture, there were no jobs. It was like being an artist. And I last only one semester, and then I quickly changed. And it was a rebellion when I was 18 years old. Like my mom was crying. But after a few years, then my mom loved architecture. So that's kind of my beginning. You see, it was difficult. But again, designing, it was so easy. I was into flow for 5 years when I was studying, like pure flow, you know. And then the second dream, now with the coaching, it was maybe more adults, about helping people. But again, now that I remember, when I was young, yeah, I was always looking for psychologists, again, even really, going to the church to ask for help. But I never liked anything. I test them all. I didn't like anything. I discovered coaching here. I don't know, just the way they do it is more practical. What I do with my business is combining drawings with coaching. So it's basically my passions, and I like to use my background as an architect. Let's say I like to share the mindset of the architects, which is drawing your dreams, and then you work to build the building. And what I like to do with Metacomics is to help people to draw their dreams, and then you work to live your dreams. It's very simple. And another way to put it is to visualize. So in architecture, again, you visualize with different tools. And now what I do with coaching is that I share the tools to visualize your dreams. And then honestly, everything becomes real. So it's so powerful that you need to be careful with your dreams.
Talking about coaching, so as a coach now, what are the activities that you would recommend for young professionals, or even especially for people who want to become entrepreneur, to invest their time in?
Yeah, that actually depends. It depends of each individual dream and approach to their business. But in generally, I could recommend definitely surrounding yourself with people that you like to be. That means it could be mentors, it could be coaches, or or anything similar. Sometimes they don't have to be like officially a mentor or officially a coach. It can be even a different field, but you get an inspiration. Also, networking. Well, now I am kind of projecting my personal experience. So this works more for me and for people who are more like me. But things related to emotional intelligence and report and again just human contact. Well, the most practical again could be tutoring, sparring sessions. You can get those at the university or everywhere actually, mentoring sessions. Yeah, and also, well, we talked already about following your intuition.
I have two comments. The first one is when you mentioning about surrounding yourself with people who can inspire you. It again reminds me of a quote I bumped into. If you look at your network or your circle of friends and you don't feel inspired, then you are not in a cycle, you are in a cage. So people around you really have some impact or influence on you and on your growth as a person. And the second one was when you mentioning about seeking tutoring or help. So I was wondering, what do you think about how can we know that we need help?
Yeah, I think I could go back to the intuition. In the end of the day, I think it's a feeling. It's a feeling. I can say maybe when you get stuck, for example, I tend myself to don't ask for help. I don't like to ask for help. And again, this is natural. Many people don't like to ask for help. But I learned that successful people are good in asking help. And maybe the process is that before asking help, you try everything you can. And everything you can could be a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of hours. It's not that long. I mean, it's not rocket science. And then you face your limits. That's a phase. So that's maybe when you feel uncomfortable. That is when you need help. A way to test it is also when you ask for help. Usually, the first question that the person is going to ask you, mentor or teacher or boss, whoever, is going to tell you, okay, what's the problem or what's the situation? And then usually you answer like, oh, I've been trying this for months or for days and I don't find a solution, and then the process started. So what it means, like, you actually did something, So yeah, that's one way. And that happened with me many times. For example, even when I was writing my thesis, I realized that I needed tutoring for academic writing. That was kind of easy to find because it was difficult for me. And then I found that they are tutoring for that. So I said, okay, I need help with that. For example, in my business, there is actually a quote also which refers that if you are not, it's like if you are doing things alone, you are not dreaming big enough. Okay, and I actually didn't like that idea because I just wanted to do my things on my own. But then you find a company and so on, then you actually realize that even if you can do everything, first you won't have time for everything, and even if you want to do it, it will take too long, like incredibly too long. And second, even if you do it, you won't like the process, because if there are 5 things that you have to do, maybe you like 2 or 3, and then you have the rest that you don't like them. So then it's just easy, just find someone else, Just there are people who love to do something that you don't like to do it, then you just do teamwork. And it doesn't mean necessarily that you have an official team, but you can have, like freelancers, or there are many versions. And in the future, you can have. In the end, it's a team, but it's not like officially a team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but basically, when you feel stuck, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Maybe the last question from my side, I would say, I would like to consult your advice or opinion for people who wanted to also start their business in coaching. For So people like you who like to help others, who enjoy coaching. So we all know that we are in the era of technology. So a lot of uh, prediction that in the near future there will be a lot of like technology will take over a lot of jobs. So I think this doesn't mean that people will lose a lot of jobs, but a lot of us will need to change our jobs. And for the next generation, they may have to deal with jobs that never exist. So I think, for me, I think this is something like a potential for the growth of the coaching industry or coaching business, because people need help to cope with the change. So I would like to hear your opinion about this matter.
Yeah, I have a similar opinion of you. I was just participating in or listening a seminar last year about kind of futurism, the future of everything, of work and so on, and automation and AI and so on. And they predicted that the more the work will be automated, the more we will need human touch, human skills. Because even if ultimately they automate a coach, for example, like my own job, which is a tricky one, but let's imagine they manage to automate psychologists. Unfortunately, a robot have not the same feeling of a human being. So that's the limitation of technology. That is it's just not a human being. They are good in being smart. That's fine, but they don't have feelings. They don't. It's not. They cannot give you a hug, for example. And so in that way, they were predicting that meta skill, something that I call meta skill, which is skills of skills, like soft skills, like creativity, problem solving, rapport, and all of them, mentorship, coaching, and so on. Those were going to be more required. And even me, I use drawings and I ask people to draw by hand. And it's because we tend to don't do it. So now it's almost exclusive, just sitting down 2 hours to use your hand is it's like, it's almost, it's a new value, ironically. But I understand, I myself, I spend most of the time in the computer. And I'm not against technology. I think technology is welcome and it has to be our friend. That's the thing. So it has to be a win-win, because technology is good for many reasons. Communications like now, or Corona time like now. Technology is every day. So technology is good. But again, the human touch will be actually even more appreciated in the future, and probably more than now, because now we're a little bit in a transition. So technology will take a little bit of time still to come even stronger with AI and so on. But when that comes, then rapidly we will get used to. And again, the human touch will still be important. It's like connection with nature. Like it doesn't matter if we can go to Mars with rockets, still we would like to walk on the beach or have a walk on the forest, So yeah, I think I see a positive future. Maybe our task is to communicate that. Yeah.
That's very nice conclusion. I'm very happy for our talk today. Is there any final words that you would like to share? Anything we haven't discussed about?
I think maybe my final words is just to follow your intuitions, dream big, close your eyes, visualize your dreams, open your eyes, and live your dreams. Really simple.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Louis.